Okay, so my name's Ralph Harbison. I'm the director of the Better Life program at 4Health. I'm a life coach. I help people lose weight. I help people deal with things like stress, all the things that contribute to whether or not you're healthy and well. Using the program that I use, I lost 40 pounds in a year. So I gained some of it back, but I'm counting that 40. I lost it, and it was hard to lose, and I gained some of it back, but it's still 40 pounds. So I'm speaking from experience when I speak to my clients and the people about these things. Now, stress, besides what you eat, stress is the single biggest thing that is going to impact your life. People don't necessarily think about it this way, but it's true. And stress can be good or bad. Now what stress is anything that causes your body to respond. My voice is a stress on your ears. Now it can be a good stress, you can like listening to me, or it can be a bad stress like it is to my kids, because they consider my voice to be something they don't want to hear. So, good or bad, you're always stimulated. That's what stress is. The response can be a physical response. You get hot, you sweat. It can be a mental response. You see something or read something that makes you think. Or it can be an emotional response. Sometimes stress makes you happy, sometimes the stress can make you sad. Usually it's going to do more than one of the things at a time. How many times do you hear a song or see something that reminds you of a memory, and it might make you happy while you think about it? Or it could remind you of someone that you've lost, and it makes you sad while you think about those things. So that's all stress is something that makes your body do something. Now, a good stress helps you grow. Good stress helps you learn. Good stress helps you enjoy life. Family is a good stress, and they're a bad stress too. I'm about to get to that. So good stresses are things that help you. Sunlight helps you see. Sunlight can be bad for you though, can't it? Food helps you live. Food can be bad too. A bad stress, I like to say, is stress without rest. It's a constant, it doesn't stop, and it keeps on hammering at you no matter what. Family, that's a good stress. And they know how to keep on hammering on you, don't they? So they become a bad stress. There's a scale that we use to evaluate how bad something is, how bad an event is as far as stress goes. And the number one thing on that scale is the death of a spouse, followed right behind it by the death of a family member. Y'all know what's about 3 or 4 on that list? The holidays. Yeah. Now y'all think about the holidays. Does that get relentless and keep on pounding on you? Yeah. But they should be good, shouldn't they? Shouldn't that be a good time? And some of it is. So good stress becomes bad when it doesn't stop. Now there's some stress that's always bad. Financial stress. You always feel that, right? And it doesn't matter, you never have enough. So, but bad stress is the problem. According to the Mayo Clinic, between 75 and 90% of all doctor visits are contributed to by stress. Either caused or contributed to by stress. Stress has an effect on your body that is crazy. It lowers your immune system. It can cause problems with your heart, causes problems with your nerves, problems with your skin, asthma. Physical pain can be caused by stress. How many of y'all feel stress and get it up here in your shoulders? Yeah. That is a stress reaction. Now here's what happens though. This physical pain in your shoulders causes you more stress. And then guess what that does? Causes you more pain. Now that's bad, isn't it? Stress without rest is going to be bad every time. So we stop for a second. We say, well, what do we do? Well, one more little factoid. Half of people with emotional problems, they think it's because of stress. So things like depression, those things are made worse by having stress. A lot of stress in your life. So what do we do? Well, how we manage stress depends on two things. First is how we see it. Do we see this stress as being bad or being good? And do we see this stress as something that we can get through? That's the first thing. The second thing is we've got to deal with it. And what we like to tell people that I meet with, it's an I win philosophy. I win. Now, do you wake up every day thinking, I'm going to win? You wake up every day thinking, I got to go to work. Wake up every day thinking, I got to deal with these kids. I got to deal with my spouse. I got to deal with my friends. I got to go to work. And then what do you do when you get home? Now I got to deal with the home until I got to go back to work. You're not winning, are you? You don't even think about it. You know, your life is not based on winning because you're not playing a game. You're trying to live. You're trying to exist. Well, stress has something called survival mode. When you're under stress, it causes your adrenal glands, which sit right on your kidneys, to release adrenaline into your system. First thing in the morning when you wake up, your body tries to shoot adrenaline into you. Helps you get up out of bed and get going. Most people have to immediately get a cup of coffee because they need the caffeine to get them going. That means their adrenal glands are shot. It means your body is so overstressed that it can't react anymore. But that can be fixed. All that can be fixed. Now here's why I say I win. I win actually stands for how you handle the stress. I identify all the stress in your life. Good and bad. Everything. Now this is where a lot of people have trouble. They can identify the bad stress. I can catch someone on the street and say, what's the bad stress you have in your life? And they can tell me just like that. Actually, I could probably list out everybody's bad stress and be right about it. 3/4 of it. But they never think about the good stress that they have. The things that make them happy when they deal with it. The things that keep them going every day. That's good stress. Write down all the stress, good or bad. Identify. W, write it down. Write down all the stress and write down the things that make it worse. Money. Yeah, money's a stressor. Well, I got my house paid. I got food to pay for. I got bills. I got these kids who think I'm made out of money. Anything that causes that money stress to be worse. Write it all down. Like I said, write down the good stress too, the things that make you happy and why they make you happy and when they make you happy. My 5-year-old gets on my nerves, but he makes me happy when he's sweet, which is maybe once a week. Twice if you want something. So, but you write it all down and you look at it. These are the things that cause me stress. Now the next I, in I win, is to interrupt the bad stress. Now sometimes you can stop it outright. If somebody is getting on your nerves, you can leave the room, right? Sometimes you can't. But you can interrupt that bad stress. I had a great aunt from Italy. She came over when she was 8 years old. Never really learned how to speak English. Died when she was 96. Never could speak English quite right. But Aunt Rosa gave the same advice to everybody who was getting married. She said, you got to love each other. You got to talk to each other. And if one person starts to yell, the other person needs to go out on the porch. What happens when you're in an argument with someone you care about and one of you starts to yell? You yell back, don't you? What happens to your stress? Right up through the roof. Walk away. Interrupt that bad stress. Well, what about the bad stress you can't interrupt? Money. Do something that takes your mind off of it for a minute. Now, that's hard for some folks. Some folks are type A. They're always preoccupied with something. My wife and 5-year-old are those people. My 5-year-old will go to sleep thinking about something. He'll wake up the next morning and start right back where he left off. It's like pushing pause on the DVD player. Then you pick him up from school, he'll start right back where he was when you dropped him off. Okay? But you've got to find something to take your mind off of it if you can't stop it outright. And then the N in I win is to nurture the good stress and your response to it. So the things that make you happy, do a little more of them. The things, the way you feel when you're around people, be around those people more. Figure out why they make you smile and deal with them. So, how do you deal with the stress though? How do you really interrupt it? It's the same way you nurture the good stress. Prayer. If you're someone who believes in God and prays, take some time and pray. Find a place that's quiet where you can be left alone. And don't pray about the money. Don't pray about the stress. Just be with God for a bit. If you don't believe in God, look into meditation. Sit and learn how to still your mind. Exercise. I don't like no exercise. I'm allergic to exercise. That and pollen. I can't do either one. But physical activity of some sort tends to get your mind off of stress. Now, if you're someone who does physical work all day, find something not physical to do for a bit. Change your routine for just 5 or 10 minutes. Makes all the difference in the world. How you eat. Certain foods make stress reactions worse. Now, a lot of those foods are your high acid things. Okay? But alcohol tends to make stress reactions worse. Y'all know why? Alcohol's a downer. It's a depressant. If you're sad when you start drinking, you're going to be crying when you're drunk. It's a depressant. Alcohol makes you sad. Drugs tend to make the stress response worse. Because while you are on them, you might not feel the stress. But the second you come out of it, it hits you like a ton of bricks. That's why people keep on. It feeds it. So look into those kind of things. Now, you don't have to make major changes to your life to have a good stress response. Just a few little things can make all the difference in the world. You know, if you could find 5 minutes a day where you can be left alone, you'll be surprised how much that matters. Now, I used to use my 5 minutes a day. I find the bathroom and just sitting there. Because people leave you alone in the bathroom if you're in there more than a minute. I'm not going near there. 5-year-old though, he don't care. Especially when he was 2. You know, he started banging on the door. Well, that's not leave me alone now. I've got to find other times to be by myself. A few minutes is all it takes to interrupt the bad stress and to help your good stress response grow. And you're going to see a major difference in your life and how you feel. Now, the last thing I'd like to talk about, and if my slides were here, I could show them to you, but we couldn't get the projector up. Y'all know what a diamond is? Y'all know where a diamond comes from? It comes out of the ground, right? It comes from the jewelry store. It costs you a lot of money. A diamond is a piece of coal that had so much stress, heat, and pressure for so long that it stopped being a piece of coal and became a diamond. How many of y'all have ever held a piece of coal or a piece of charcoal? Is it charcoal and coal? That's real soft, isn't it? Diamond's the hardest substance made in nature. All that stress to that diamond was the greatest thing in the world. because it got hard. It became beautiful. Because it dealt with it the right way. Because you know, there might have been a piece of coal right beside it, and when that heat and pressure got on it, it crumbled. It became dust. So it's about learning how to see the stress as good and make the good stress important and find the bad stress, interrupt it, and deal with it. All right, y'all got any questions? No questions. Good. I get worried when I talk. Sometimes I worry that people won't know what I'm talking about. But stress is a good topic because everybody deals with it. Now, yeah.
Okay, stress is caused like, how about making love?
Oh, no. You're going to ask that question. That's okay. Let me tell y'all something. That's a very good question. Because here's why.
I'm sorry.
No, it's good. 'Cause I'm going to answer it the good way. You put some stress on me now. Here's the deal. A lot of people get really scared when it comes to that. And then some people, they're fine. You know? But if you enjoy it, when you're doing that, you're not thinking about all the stress stuff, are you? No, but think about that. Think about it for a second. Now, if you're not, like I said, there are people who get nervous about it. There are folks, I deal with people all the time. And their chief problem is they're petrified of being intimate with anybody. I mean, they're scared of it. And then I deal with folks all the time, and their problem is they're not scared enough of it, you know? But if you're not scared of it, during that period of time, you're not thinking about all the bad stuff in the world. You're having a good time. And afterward, you feel better. Now see, that's just it.
I didn't want to ask the girl my life.
But like I said though, there are people who get seriously stressed out about it. It will ruin their day thinking that they're going to, because they're worried that they're not good. They're worried they're going to get turned down.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, you know. But that's in their, that's all up here, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
They are creating stress. And they're creating bad stress for themselves. And then when they get in the situation, you know what they're thinking about? I'm not good. They're not letting their body react. You know. And remember I talked about the adrenal glands? Get you going?
Yeah, the ones.
Yeah, you've got something else in your body. They're called endorphins. And endorphins have a lot of different functions. One of them is a pain reliever. The other one makes you feel good. They tie together, and that makes sense, doesn't it? Because when you're in pain, you don't feel good. If the pain goes away, you feel really good. You know, certain activities release a lot of endorphins, and that happens to be one that can release a lot of endorphins. Yeah. So it's not a bad question. You know.
I didn't want to say anything funny.
Oh, don't even worry about it. It's good.
Dude.
It's all good. All right. Anything else?
I have a question.
Yeah.
When you said stress
Yeah.
here, how do you relieve it?
Well, there are a few things you need to do. Now, this is when I wish Dr. Haynes could have been here with me today. But we had a staff problem. We had a staff member who was in an accident last night, and so we're short-handed back at the office. How do you deal with this? Well, first of all, you do need to identify where this is coming from. You know, and this one takes a little bit of time. You write down your stress and all that. When you do, start thinking about when do you ball up? When do you pull in? If you've got a smartphone, if you've got a tablet, and you're like this, you're contributing to it because you're pulling your shoulders in wrong. Your body wants to be upright. Your body wants to be larger. You know, your body doesn't naturally want to be small. You know, you ball up enough and it gets uncomfortable, doesn't it? You get to the right position, you feel better. Massages help that. Making sure you're standing correctly and not putting any extra weight on your shoulders One of the exercises that we teach at the office, you stand up, you back up to a wall, just like this. You put your hands up, and you stand it like that for just a few seconds. Do this a couple of times a day. But you want to make sure you're all touching it. And see the difference in how you're standing versus this. You know, you want to stand back. You start doing that and your body will start releasing some of that tension. The biggest thing though is you just got to deal with the stress and your body will naturally unwind it. But if it doesn't, chiropractors are great, massage is great, anything like that can help tremendously.